in the last 8. The competitive nature of this particular Asian Cup has been underlined by the rise of Syria and Jordan. So while the Saudis are only playing for pride, they could be of real nuisance value to the Blue Samurai, who do need a win to be absolutely sure of finishing top of the group. The Green Falcons, though, are in disarray. Coach Jose Peseiro sacked after 1 game. Interim replacement Nassim Al-Johar unable to stop the rot, and their star player Yasser Al-Khattani strangely subdued here in Qatar. So form, history and the group table all favour Japan. Can they finish the job, even though they are yet to find their best form in Doha, Andy Harper?
Well, that's about the only thing that's waiting to be seen here at the Rayyan Stadium. 4 years ago, it was the Saudis who spoiled Japanese dreams of a hat-trick of Asian championships, and now it's the Saudis whose only hope is to spoil Japan's dreams again. Albeit a little earlier in the tournament, to progress to the quarter-final stage, it would be a huge upset. But the only nagging doubt, Simon, is that the Saudis surely will be hell-bent on making sure they don't exit the tournament with 3 straight losses.
So it's Saudi Arabia against Japan on the final match day in Group B, as the 2 teams make their way onto this pristine surface. We'll take a break for the national anthems.
Ladies and gentlemen, please start the national anthem of Saudi Arabia. السيدات والسادة الجمهور التاسع النشيد الوطني للمنتخب السعودية. And now, national anthem of Japan. والآن على نشيد الوطني للمنتخب الياباني.
Two regional heavyweights with very differing agendas. Japan looking to win the group to ensure a quarter-final with host Qatar. Saudi Arabia playing for pride and to avoid the ignominy of finishing the tournament without a win or indeed a point. Let's take a check on the team news. Saudi Arabia making 1 change. Saud Kariri drops out of the starting 11 and isn't even on the bench, so maybe an injury for the Al Ittihad veteran. In his stead is Abdul Atif, but otherwise it's as you were with the other 10 given the chance to redeem themselves, including captain Yasser Al-Khattani, joint top scorer at the last Asian Cup, but strangely subdued here. Japan make 3 changes. Goalkeeper Eiji Kawashima, of course, suspended after the red card against Syria. So Shusuke Nishikawa picks up where he left off on match day 2. Daisuke Matsui and Keisuke Honda are both carrying injuries. The former is out completely, and we're told he will play no further part in this tournament. The latter, though, is on the subs bench. So Yosuke Kashiwagi, an attacking midfielder from Ottawa, gets just his second cap, and Shinji Okazaki gets his first start at this Asian Cup. The referee is the best in the region, 3 times Asian Referee of the Year, Uzbekistan's Ravshan Irmatov. His 2 assistants, compatriots Abdul Rasulov and Rafael Ilyasov. And the 2 captains, Makoto Hasebe of Japan and Yasser Al-Khattani of Saudi Arabia. Conditions here, near perfect, temperature of 20 degrees, a little bit cloudy. Not many fans in the stands. A lot of the Saudis have gone home. Japanese don't travel in great numbers, especially such a great distance. And there's Alberto Zaccaroni, still unbeaten as Japan coach, even though that record has looked a little precarious at times at this Asian Cup. And Nasser Al-Johar in the Saudi job for the 4th time, but for how long? Already Claude Leroy is being tipped to take over as the Saudis contemplate yet another coaching change. So Japan top of Group B, but only alphabetically from Jordan. They've got 4 points from 2 games. Jordan in second. They play Syria. Kick off simultaneously, of course. They're playing at the Qatar Sports Club down the road. Syria in third, still with a good chance to go through. And the Saudis bottom without a point and just playing for their national jersey. I don't think there's a team in this tournament that hasn't done the huddle pre-game. It's almost obligatory these days. So it's the Saudis that will get us underway before they head for home in 90 minutes' time. Will Japan be heading for the last 8? All eyes waiting towards the near touchline, where the AFC official will give the referee the nod, and he's okay to blow the start of the game. Saudi Arabia versus Japan here at Al Rayyan, and Jordan versus Syria down the road. 3 teams for 2 places, but Japan are in the driving seat. You fancy them to finish the job, Andy Harper?
Well, you'd almost be mad not to back them in from here, but strange things can happen. And 2 of the big subplots to this match. Will the Saudis fight hard for their reputation, which is in tatters at the moment? And is there anything to the murmurings coming around the Japanese press corps that things aren't that happy under coach Alberto Zaccaroni? Of course, the news of the team's announcement just an hour or so ago, there was a bevy of interest circulating around the team sheet to see that Keisuke Honda had been dropped to the bench. That has stimulated quite some excited and feverish responses in the Japanese press corps.
Officially, he's carrying an injury.
Officially. He may well be, of course, but behind the scenes there's a lot of speculation that he's been questioning his role in the team. With the coach, Zaccaroni, it's been interpreted by this decision as cracking the whip just a little bit.
Free kick for the Saudis, and Yasser Al-Khattani onto it smartly. Fire is just wide of the post. Well, he's been very, very quiet, strangely quiet at this tournament, Yasser Al-Khattani, without a goal. He wasn't too far away there.
Japan's defence switched off. Dangerous sign early. They can't afford to allow Saudi into the game. And the surest way to make sure the Saudis can't muster any sort of rearguard and final action is to snuff them out early. But it's strange, 2 of the star acts from 4 years ago, Iraq's Yunus Mahmoud and the Saudi skipper Yasser Al-Khattani, both been very quiet in this tournament.
Al-Khattani, of course, got the Asian Player of the Year award in 2007 on the back of his performances in Southeast Asia. But football goes in cycles, and Saudi's in a barren spell at the moment. That's well dispossessed by Okazaki, and really no more than toe poke towards goal by Rayyan Maeda, who's still trying to find his best form in this tournament. That's twice Japan have now dispossessed the Saudis in the space of a few seconds. Perhaps that warning shot across the bows from Al-Khattani has woken them up.
Yeah, thankfully for them, might have only just taken that. Sorry, Sean.
Kagawa's touch. Endo.
Well, they're certainly putting the pressure on now, Japan, which is what they need to do. Lining up with a 4-2-3-1.
Not overly convincing defending by Sama Al-Harbi, with Okazaki sniffing for the opportunity behind him.
They've been terrible in that part of the football field for 2 games and 3 minutes now. Terrible in the centre of defence. They're both tall, imposing physiques. Real positional ignorance at times.
Casualties continue to mount up back in Saudi Arabia. This week the Saudi FA chief, Prince Sultan bin Fahd, resigned, fell on his sword. And of course, following the exit of coach Jose Becerro, and Prince Nawaf bin Faisal has been appointed in his stead. There's another look at that pretty shoddy defending from Sama Al-Harbi. There was some speculation, Andy, that Sami Al-Jaber, the famed former Saudi international, might get the role, but it appears not. This is Shinji Kagawa. Chance here. That's better defending, and then a foul by Okazaki on Kamil Al-Musa.
Maeda just too slow out of the box. He had Okazaki free to his right. He decided, which is quite reasonable, to zero in on goal himself, but just too slow in doing it. Okazaki with that first steal resulted in another chance for Maeda.
Nagatomo.
So it's the new boy Kashiwagi who's playing in the middle of 3 attacking midfielders. Okazaki on the right and Shinji Kagawa on the left.
They all want to play in that attacking midfield role, though, don't they, Andy? That's the problem. They've got so many gifted players in that part of the field. Really, it's a regular goal scorer they need, Japan, and that really would be the finished product.
Well, I'm assuming that Jong Tae-se, who's the striker for North Korea, Japanese-born, at some point would have been eligible for the Japanese national colours. I wonder if they're regretting not having moved on him.
I don't think he was interested, though, was he?
Probably not. I mean, that might have been the key factor in the whole thing. But you certainly have him at the front of this lineup. And it changes complexion markedly, doesn't it? Takahara was the main man this time 4 years ago. Bundesliga based with Eintracht Frankfurt. In fact, this is a completely new team that played Saudi in the semi-final 4 years ago.
Takahara and Tsuro Yanagisawa are really the last regular goal scorers for Japan, and that's going to be the first yellow card of the contest, which will be issued to Uchida for the late tackle on Yasser Al-Khattani. That's his second yellow card of the tournament as well. So Uchida would miss the quarterfinals if Japan get there.
Well, it's a cheap one to give away too. There wasn't really a lot in it.
Free kick taken by the player dubbed the baby Maradona in Saudi Arabia, Mohammed Al-Shoud. This is Rayyan Maeda. Endo to the feet of the new man, Kashiwagi. Plays that attacking midfield role for Ottawa Red Diamonds. Just his second cap tonight. Nagawa happy to settle for the throw-in. Pushes it into the path of Kashiwagi. And Japan will switch the point of attack through Yoshida here to Uchida. Nagatomo. Now Kagawa. Super form for Borussia Dortmund. Now Okazaki onside, surely must score. Shinji Okazaki. Japan have the lead in the 8th minute, and it's Shinji Okazaki who sprung the offside trap and finished with real aplomb.
Well, Saudi Arabia's central defence is defence in name only. This is barely recognisable for international defending. It's pathetic, really. What about the goalkeeper too? How's that for a give-up? Complete and utter give-up. Walid Abdullah in no man's land with even less intent to save his team. It's taken 7 minutes for Saudi Arabia to collapse. One wonders what sort of hemorrhage will take place from here.
Goal number 19 for the national team for Shinji Okazaki. And from Stuttgart in the German Bundesliga. We've had this conversation before, Andy. I think he's the most natural goal scorer they've got in the squad, Japan. And yet both Zaccheroni and Takeshi Okada before him have been reluctant to start him.
We keep asking that question of the Japanese press corps, and it's almost like he's a lucky charm off the bench. And so long as they know he's going to score goals off the bench, let's not risk the fact that the goals might dry up if he's a starting 11 player. It's a bizarre logic, and that seems to be the prevailing wisdom. He's got the start today, and let's see if he can put it together for 90 minutes. There's nothing to suspect he won't be able to, particularly against this Saudi team, which is going to go through the motions. We hope that's not the case, but the signs early are that that's what will happen here.
Clearly their supporters have deserted them, Andy. There were thousands of Saudi fans who hopped just across the border to support their team, but it appears from the very small gathering here this afternoon that most of them have opted to go home. The Sons of the Deserts, as they're nicknamed, or at least one of their nicknames, have been deserted.
Exactly, well, the Green Falcons have been plucked.
Endo rides the challenge. Too much pace on that from Kashiwagi. There's Alberto Zaccheroni. They've ridden their luck at times in this tournament, Japan. I suppose the mark of a good side is one that doesn't lose, even when it's under serious pressure. And Syria and Jordan have both asked some pretty searching questions.
There's no doubt about that. Rattled clearly. They were better from game 2. After a really stottering performance game 1, but Jordan were fantastic. And they get this huge breather today. By comparison, this should have been the game that sorted the group. Saudi versus Japan, that was many people's expectations.
Bit casual from Nagatomo. Look for the striker. Hazazi. Yoshida tidying up.
Yoshida asking for a handball, but there was no way it was handball.
This is Kamil Al-Musa. Pulled through by Taizir Al-Jassim. Saudi's only goal scorer at this Asian Cup so far. Now perhaps a chance. Atif floats it towards Hazazi. All real power, all direction. his attempt.
But where tournaments can turn on moments of luck, it's certainly the case with Saudi. That's very late in the game against Syria. It was Naif Hazizi who had a header from point-blank range, which was brilliantly saved. Kept the Saudis at bay. The points evaporated.
Al-Shub gives it straight to Hasabeh. Now Endo. Japan playing all in royal blue this afternoon. They're looking for a second goal here. Okazaki has a second goal. He is on fire in the opening quarter of an hour at Al Rayyan, and the Saudis have been cut to ribbons defensively once again. Just too easy.
Ridiculously easy. People are expecting cricket scores against India in this tournament. The likelihood is it's going to be the 3 times champions of Asia who are providing nothing more than cannon fodder here at Al Rayyan. It's an expert header. Keeper got very little on it. The defence breached too easily. Twice now.
Never mind Lucky Charm off the bench. Maybe he's the Lucky Charm from the off. But he has been helped by some pretty ordinary defending from the Saudis, who look as though they're ready for home already. What a fall from grace it's been, Andy. They've competed in 6 at the last 7 Asian Cup finals.
Well, they're just revealing a terrible brittleness psychologically. Talked about the huddle before the game, a clarion call for spirit in the jersey. Well, it's all for show, evidently.
Shinji Okazaki, sorry Andy, on a hat-trick already. Here they come again. Shinji Kagawa trying to dig it out. It might drop here for Okazaki. The flag was raised in any case, and he screwed his shot wide.
The danger for Japan is that they start getting in each other's way in the penalty area. Air swing to clear. Okazaki adjudged to be offside in any event.
Well, Saudi Arabia, such a proud footballing nation, but a mere shadow of the teams of years gone by at the moment. You just wonder, Andy, if you're Jose Peseiro, whether you're not just having a little wry smile. Not that he'll be happy to see his former team being embarrassed, but to sack a coach after 1 game of a major tournament.
Well, the problems with Saudi football are not the coaches they employ from tournament to tournament. It seems to be the mentality of the organisation. Players don't perform, coaches get sacked. Now, that's the rule of football around the football world. It just seems to be more acute in Saudi. 1 or 2 of the other places in this part of the world.
Free kick for the Saudis. Could they get back into the contest? That'll be a goal kick. Now, news of a goal at the Qatar Sports Club, and Syria are 1-up against Jordan. Interesting. So the way things stand in Group B, it will be Japan and Syria to go through to the last 8. Long way to go, of course. Keep you posted on events at Qatar Sports Club.
I mean, the question on Jose Peseiro, Simon, is not that he was sacked after 1 game here, as obviously flawed as that approach is. It's that he survived the World Cup failure. I mean, they showed enormous patience for Saudi football operators to keep him in the job after they failed to get past Bahrain.
Here's Shinji Kagawa. Sorry to break away, Andy. It's as though it was opening up again there for Japan.
I mean, they had that Bahrain playoff tucked away in their back pocket into injury time at home and somehow contrived to lose. Still, Pesero kept his job then. I don't know why they waited till the first loss here at the Asian Cup, which in many ways was an unfortunate one. That game could have gone either way.
But having done so, why would you sack a coach one game into a tournament?
Well,
It just doesn't make sense to me.
Very few things make sense sometimes in the world of football, Simon.
The official line from the Saudi FA was that he made serious mistakes in his approach in the first game, and they had to be corrected. Well, they've not, have they? Here's Okazaki, the two-goal hero. Kashiwagi turned into a cul-de-sac. This is Ahmed Atif. To Abdullah Shuhail. Just given away far too cheaply again by the Green Falcons. Yoshida. Just on Yoshida, Andy, given the tightness of this group, how it's worked out, how vital was that injury time equaliser that he scored against Jordan? Turning point for Japan. Here they come looking for a third. They have a third. Ryoichi Maeda. And Saudi Arabia could be getting a bit of a hammering here this afternoon. They're 3-0 down, and we've not yet played 20 minutes. A first goal of the tournament for Maeda, and it's 3-0 for the Blue Samurai.
Well, you've got to be careful not to go out too hard in your condemnation of Saudi, because they've still got 70 minutes to avoid complete humiliation. It's a beautiful cross from Nagatomo. It's a finish with real touch from Ryoichi Maeda. I've been waiting to see him score a goal for the Blue Samurai. He's picked an obvious day to do it. Zaccheroni can now relax, making me think back to Game 1, 2002 FIFA World Cup, Japan-Korea, Saudi Arabia versus Germany. Miroslav Klose scored 5 with his head that day, and the Saudis' reputation was in tatters. Well, this has got all the hallmarks of turning into a vivisection.
Well, credit to Japan. They can only defeat the opposition that's in front of them. They've still not won, of course, but gee, even at this early stage, Andy, it's difficult to see a Saudi comeback from here.
I think it's more a question of whether Japan choose to go on with it or not.
Saudi are a shambles, aren't they?
Total shambles. There's no application, there's no desire, there's no will.
No wonder their fans have deserted them in their droves. It's a long way to come to this stadium as well, out at Al Rayyan, almost in the middle of the desert. Most of them have thought, well, we're not going to bother. There you go, the fouls committed. Saudi Arabia, not that we're saying that fouls are good things, but they haven't yet committed a single foul, and they're 3-0 down. That shows their rather slipshod and disinterested approach in one respect. Japan, by contrast, have committed 9.
Well, this will be a measure of Japan's professionalism from here. There's no way they can lose this game now if they remain even remotely switched on. There's another turnover. Sniper sniped.
He being Yasser Al-Khattani, of course. That's his nickname. He's not been provided with too many bullets, though, at this tournament. This is Al-Shub. That's a better ball, and goalkeeper Nishikawa gets a good strong punch to it. Japan will move forward. Endo just dispossessed for a moment by Taisir. It almost feels like training ground practice match at the moment, doesn't it?
It's a pre-season practice game.
And it's first team against reserves.
Yeah.
Here's Okazaki. Just about cut out by Abdullah Shuhail. Ahmed Atif. Al-Qatani. Just sort of lazily swung forward really by Kamil Al-Musa. No real belief that a teammate was going to be on the end of it. And this is Uchida. It's up by Shinji Kagawa. Around the outside. Again, way too easy. Play by Abdullah Shuhail. They survive on that occasion, Saudi Arabia.
You wonder about the commitment of the Saudi team. They're still walking out of their own penalty area. So easily been 4-0 seconds ago. We might get another chance now for Japan.
Look at the amount of space the likes of Kagawa has got in midfield.
Well, it does look like a pre-season training game, Simon. But first versus reserves has more spite than this because the reserve team are trying to get a place in the first team. This looks like one of the big Asian clubs or big European clubs going to a fourth-tier Northern European team and getting a 13-goal hammering under their belt before the comp starts. To feel good about yourself.
Okazaki. Uchida. Lovely run through the legs of Ahmed Hatif. Asabe, square for Endo. And Japan just playing at will here. Uchida. It's a bit more committed by Kamil Al-Musa. But it's Uchida who is penalised.
Devastating for Japan that he's going to be ruled out of the next match with a game the way this is unfolding. Pick up any yellow cards. It's doubly painful.
This is the fifth time that Japan and Saudi Arabia have met in the finals of the Asian Cup. Japan have won 3 out of the previous 4. Barring a miracle, it's going to be 4 out of 5. Here's Kashiwagi. Nagatomo, back to Endo. Okazaki, Uchida up in support. Rolls it into his path. And Walid Abdullah clutches the ball. This is Taisir Al-Jassim. There's the Saudi Arabian stats, and they've played almost the entire game in their own half. There's the Japanese by contrast. Heated spots very much in the Saudi Arabian half. If you want more on those statistics, both individual and team, visit the AFC official website. You'll find everything you need to know about this Asian Cup tournament. www.the-afc.com is the address. Going pretty heavy at Kashiwagi, beautifully controlled. Here come Japan again. Okazaki, time to measure it up. And the volley from Captain Hasabe didn't really get hold of it.
No, it didn't sit for him. The looped cross gave the Saudis, even the Saudis, too much time to get back behind the ball. This is resembling a shooting gallery at the moment, however.
This is headers and volleys, isn't it, on the beach?
Yeah. And that was an attack or two ago. Shuhail heading clear. He's got a bit about him, Shuhail, the number 2. If he can get in a team that has some momentum, he's a good overlapping fullback.
Well, at least that's a test for Nishikawa, one that he passes. Decent strike from Taisir Al-Jassim. It's going to be a long afternoon for the Saudis, but the good news for the neutrals is Japan are a very enjoyable team to watch.
Yeah, this will be an excellent hit out for Japan in preparation for the knockout matches. Starting with Qatar, will be their opponent in the quarterfinals, finished second in Group A. Convincing win last night against a very disappointing Kuwait.
How about this, Andy? There's going to be a change already. Is that due to an injury, or is that just the coach feeling he has to do something?
Well, this is a coach trying to show the local, or the Saudi Federation and Olympic Committee that I'm doing something. There can be nothing more to it.
It's almost a game being played in reverse, isn't it? 3 goals in the first 20 minutes and a substitution. Manaf Aboshker is the new man from Al Ittihad back in his homeland. He replaces Abdo Atif. Midfielders both. It's a good strong run by him. Nagatomo does love to get forward. It's one of the really arresting sights of watching the Blue Samurai in full flow. The 2 fullbacks, Uchida and Nagatomo. Great athletes, great footballers too.
Enormous amounts of ground covered. Nagatomo, one of the experts at that in the entire competition, actually, down the left-hand side. Of course, probably not too unreasonable to start projecting to that quarter-final. Nagatomo down the left up against Qatar's weak defensive spot, right fullback.
Without Mohamed Kasola as well, of course, through suspension. This is Hazazi. Patani's touch. Ahmed Al-Shub. Comes into brick wall that was Uchida, who will gallop forward. Hope of a return ball from Maeda. Instead it's Nagatomo. Kono. Square for Yoshida. Okazaki shows Uchida. Patient build-up from Japan. Almost everybody behind the ball for Saudi Arabia. Eventually, Hasebe was a little bit hurried as we passed the half-hour mark, and the good news for Saudi Arabia is it's 11 minutes since they conceded. Zaccaroni, the Japan coach, saying that winning this Asian Cup is not really their priority. When you get to the latter stages of a tournament, I think it's probably
it becomes it, doesn't it?
Difficult to not want to win it.
And I don't think those comments went down terribly well in Japan. Yeah. I think he's had to sort of about face.
Very winnable quarter-final up against Qatar next. And then you're really at the business end of the tournament.
The Saudis gone. Now it's only Japan and Iran who can remain in contention for the first team to win 4 titles. South Korea, if they prevail, it will only be their 3rd. You say only, but they haven't won it since 1960.
Forward by Housawi. Maybe this is a chance for the Saudis, but Azazi not quick enough. No foul either. Uchida, look at the room for the fullback. Plenty forward for Japan. Oh, it's a disappointing cross.
Okazaki would have been offside anyway. It was a lazy play from the striker, even though the cross was poor. Okazaki had just drifted aimlessly into a very offside position. He's got 2 goals to his name, clocked up 4 Ks already. And what I can tell you, Simon, after reading through a lot of these statistics, an average speed of 8.2 Ks is probably faster than anyone's been running on average through the tournament. Now, I know it's only early days, that will probably flatten out as the next hour of football transpires. Nevertheless, it is what it is.
As we say, full credit to Japan. They have simply steamrolled the Saudis. Maybe they've got a chance here. Kamil Al-Musa behind Yasser Al-Khattani. This is Atif. Drilled across low and hard. At least they get the shot away. Through Mohammed Al-Shub. A bit better pressure. Taisir Al-Jassim. Again, a long-range drive. And again, comfortably fielded by the goalkeeper.
Nishikawa, tremendous impression he's made. That was a difficult one to make stick so comfortably. Japan's goalkeeper came off the bench, of course, with that hugely controversial send-off. Kawashima in the Syria game. His first effort was to try and stop the penalty from Firas. He came close to doing that, and from that point on, with the goalkeeper part of a 10-man team that had to overcome Syria, he was excellent. And the early signs here, albeit against a Saudi team which has pretty much put the cue in the rack already. Nevertheless, he's made a couple of tidy saves. That last one in particular, he made look very easy.
Yeah, looks ice cool, doesn't he? Nothing phases him. He's almost got that, and I mean this in the nicest possible sense, that vacant stare that some goalkeepers have. And you sometimes need that in such an important position.
Yes, I know what you mean, and I agree with you. Some people would call it focusing.
That's probably a better term. Not the goalkeepers' union onto me.
Beautiful touch to break his Asian Cup 2011 duck, which he made. He's had a few chances before today.
Saudi Arabia, a little bit better of late, and they've perhaps got a chance here. It's well defended by Nagatomo, just to take it away from the oncoming Naif Hazazi.
Nice pass from Yasser Al-Khattani. Excellent coverage from Nagatomo.
Shuhail, maybe a try from here. Well, more positive signs though for Saudi Arabia. The only issue is, Andy, it's taken them 35 minutes to get involved.
Well, I think he's worth watching. Shuhail, I'm not sure he's a great right fullback, but he's certainly a good right attacker. Cutting inside on his left foot there.
News of another goal at the Qatar Sports Club. It's all tied up between Jordan and Syria, 1-1.
And both contests going the way a lot of people expected, if not on the scoreboard, certainly as contests. The Jordan-Syria game just shaped up to be delectable. This always had the concern about it that the Saudis were going to collapse. Collapse they have.
By Kashiwagi. Big chance for him, just his second cap tonight.
They're getting a few sympathy votes from the referee as well, Saudi Arabia. Not sure how he saw one sinned and one sinned against there.
By Kamil Al-Musa, but offside against Naif, who is rated one of the best young strikers in Saudi Arabia. 10 goals in the Saudi League this year, 45 in 68 matches in total for Al-Ittihad. It was a tight call, that one. older hands in this Japanese side. The age of 27. Average age of the Japan squad is just a touch under 25. Uchida, now they move Japan, and Shinji Nagawa with the shot. Endo battling with Naif. Shuhail to Al-Shub. Good tackle by Kono. Never going to trouble. Leads Abdullah from that range. Plenty has this afternoon already. If you're Al Johar, the Saudi coach, Andy, what does your team talk at half-time? Do you berate the team?
Save your breath.
Throw the teacups, or just...
You save your breath.
Stay quiet.
For the defence you have to mount in front of the Saudi Football Federation.
That's true.
I mean, the fact of the matter is he's a staff coach. He's come in because they sacked the #1 man, Jose Pereira. He'll be held to account in part, but he's an apparatchik. He's not the main man, and he'll just slip back into the boot room of Saudi football. I can use that reference. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't at all be surprised if a number of these players are called to account, because it's all very well sacking coaches, but it is the pride of Saudi football which is taking a complete shellacking at the moment, and it's the players who are proving nothing more than turnstiles.
The coaching merry-go-round certainly can't help, though. They've gone through 5 since the 2006
and I
World
think
Cup.
one of the issues, you have to be careful, because you have to be inside the belly of the beast to understand it better, but I think it would be fair to speculate that too many players for Saudi hide behind coach failures. And it's always the coach whose head's on the block, and it's a sequence of players who fail to deliver. Coaches take the sack. Well, they're the vagaries. Patience is going to run out with some of these guys before too much longer, you'd reckon. Unless, of course, they're completely untouchable, and that might be part of the culture as well.
Is it fair to say the fact that all of the players are domestically based as well is perhaps an issue? Very, very few Saudis go overseas to play, not even in other countries in the Middle East. I can only remember Sami Al-Jaber, who went to England briefly, so they don't get experience of other cultures. The Japanese side, of course, is full of players who play all over the world.
Well, it remains true about Saudi football. When they're hot, they're very tough to stop. When the cracks appear, they take water very quickly. And their fans know it. That's why they've abandoned in massive numbers. I mean, all the newspaper talk at the start of the tournament was how there was no hotel rooms left because of the number of Saudi nationals who'd come for the tournament.
There's a few now.
They're going like hotcakes.
Ahmed Al-Shub, second place in the Asian Player of the Year award back in 2006. Only very slight, but one of the most gifted midfielders in Saudi Arabia. Most of his teammates who's struggling this afternoon. Hassabe, the same wavelength as Kashiwagi. Kamel Al-Musa, touch with a little flick from Yasser Al-Khattani. Now Ahmed Atif can find some room. It's well played. Abdullah Shuhail wants to measure the cross. Partly cleared by Kono. The drop here for Kamil Al-Musa. Now the substitutes, Manaf.
Shinji Okazaki showing some desperation there.
So a reminder, if you're just tuning in, Japan 3-0 to the good here. In the other game, it's Jordan 1, Syria 1, a result that would be enough to put Jordan through to the last 8, where they would face Uzbekistan. Well, the possession stats have just gone in favour of the Saudis, but they've been ripped apart again here. Shinji Kagawa must score. He's taken the ball too wide. And the Saudis are spared, for now at least, from conceding a 4th goal. Just ripped apart, and the Japanese are in the mood.
Well, their centre of defence is like a wet paper bag. Credit the goalkeeper, he made it at least difficult for Shinji Kagawa. His touch took him too wide, chance dies. Walid Abdullah spreading his lanky frame to good effect.
Well, can the Saudis get into the half-time break without further damage? Japan always dangerous from set pieces, we know that. No Honda in the team, so Endo will deliver towards the near post. And again, poor marking by the Saudis. Maeda had more time and room than even he realised.
Here's the foul that was conceded on Shinji Kagawa, the free kick that followed. 2 free men in blue.
Endo's ball in. Good fist clear by Walid Abdullah. Nagatomo hairs after it. On the line for Kashiwagi. Again, no real pressure on the cross. Now Saudi can perhaps think of a counter for Mohamed Al-Shub. Yasser Al-Qahtani to Taysir Al-Jassim. Naif Hazazi. Abdullah Shuhail. As we move into injury time at the end of the first period. Just the 1 minute to be added. Now Shuhail. Weave his way past Endo.
Yasuhito Endo has got rid of the cobwebs from game 1, which is almost the best news for Japan's cause.
Touched by Naif Hazazi. Dug out by Yasser Al-Qahtani, but couldn't find the space. Taysir Al-Jassim with another effort from long range. Again, some good desperate defending by Japan.
And a late rally from the Saudis on the cusp of half-time.
Belatedly.
Changes at half-time for Saudi, we'll wait and see. There might be a new coach by the second half.
Great shots from our cameramen, aren't they? They deserve a pat on the back as well. Doing a great job here in Qatar. Sadly, the same can't be said for Saudi Arabia. They have been absolutely and utterly outplayed and dominated by Japan in this first half. 3-0 the scoreline. Shinji Okazaki has helped himself to 2. Ryoichi Maeda with his first goal at the tournament as well. And at the interval, it's Saudi Arabia 0, Japan 3. Well, Andy, no doubt that Japan are en route to the last 8 against Qatar. They played brilliantly first period.
Yeah, they did. And I agree with your call, Simon. You can only line up against the opposition that presents itself. Saudi have presented very little opposition, but Japan, to their credit, to their professional credit, they've continued about the business as best they can. And they should be 4 up. They'll have to settle for 3 up at half-time, and unless something absolutely remarkable happens in both dressing rooms, they'll go on with it in the second half.
So, on paper, at least at the start of the tournament, it was a clash of the heavyweights, but of course all the history over the last week or so meant that it was pretty much a dead rubber for Saudi Arabia. Not so for Japan. They still needed at least a point to ensure qualification for the last 8, and they got off to a pretty positive start. The Saudis, as they've demonstrated, Andy, throughout this tournament, are pretty weak defensively.
Well, we were wondering if the Saudis would aim up today to try and save face. We learnt very early in the match that wasn't going to be enough of a motivation for them. They've taken a complete bath in this first half. Japan have done as well as they can to maintain some sort of tempo. But for fans of Saudi football, it's just embarrassing to watch this. They've come with no fight, no tick-up, no desire. Japan are doing what Japan need to do, and that's win the football match. They're creating as much distance between them and Saudi as they can. The danger for Japan coming into this game was twofold. Firstly, that Saudi would come and defend their reputation, and secondly, that Japan wouldn't score early enough, thereby allowing Saudi Arabia to grow into the contest. Well, the Japanese team made sure neither of those things came to pass. They scored early. They've effectively, to use the vernacular, rubs the Saudis' noses in it, and they've maintained that rage as best as possibly can for 45 minutes. Okazaki with the first 2. Beautiful work from Nagatomo. Aida with his first. That was the scoring complete 3-0. Should have been 4, could easily have been 5. And who knows what will eventuate in the second half.
But just non-existent marking from the Saudis for all 3 goals. Credit to Japan. They played some eye-catching stuff as they normally do. But, the opposition has been pretty weak thus far this afternoon. Saudis, of course, heading for home, and it looks like that cannot come quickly enough for the team known as the Green Falcons. A very proud footballing nation, 3 times former winners of this Asian Cup, like Japan. Well, there is only one team that's going to go further at this tournament, and that is the Blue Samurai. So there we go, 13 shots on target in the first half, and well, they're evenly split pretty much, and the possession too, but statistics sometimes only really tell half the story, and the story of this first half is that Japan were completely and utterly dominant, and they lead by 3-0 at the interval. A very easy team talk for Alberto Zaccheroni, less so for Nasser Al-Jahar. Back with the second half from Doha very shortly. Welcome back to Al Rayyan. You know that the natural order of things is rather upside down when it starts raining in the desert, and when Saudi Arabia are about to leave the Asian Cup without a point. But both those scenarios are reality here in Doha. The rain has begun to fall, and Saudi Arabia trail Japan by 3-0, having lost both of their first two games at this Asian Cup. Japanese fans are happy enough. They're heading for the quarterfinals and a meeting with the host, Qatar. Alberto Zaccaroni's team talk will have been rather easier, you'd imagine, than Tassir Al-Johar. It's as though Zaccaroni is going to make his first change. And he's taken off the double goal scorer, Shinji Okazaki, and will replace him with a defender, Masahiko Inoha, who is making his international debut, the defender from Kashima Antlers. Actually appearing in his second Asian Cup. He was a late replacement 4 years ago for the injured Ryuichi Bando, but didn't play. So this is his first appearance at a major tournament for the Blue Samurai. And it's Japan who get us back underway at the start of the second period, kicking from right to left, and with a very comfortable advantage. Andy Harper.
Huge advantage. An unbeatable advantage, you'd reckon. Very interesting at half-time. It is customary almost for both sets of substitutes to stay on the field and warm up. Well, that's what the Japanese did, but there was not a Saudi player inside at half-time. The entire squad in the dressing room. Only one change made. Come on top of the change made on 28 minutes. Zizi has come off, the number 9.
Yep, and he's been replaced by Motaz Al-Mosa. Already the result is academic here at Al Rayyan. Barring a miraculous sort of a comeback from the Saudis, but they will be, as we said at the start, Andy, playing for pride, but there was precious little evidence of that in the first half.
Yeah, none. The second half is a new opportunity for them. It'll be a victory of sorts if they can not concede another goal in this second half.
There's Ahmed Hatif, Abdullah Shuhail, Yasser Al-Qahtani was just blocked there by Yoshida.
So the change from Alberto Zaccaroni to get Inoha on is give him some game time. He's moved out to right fullback. Uchida will be missing next game, 2 yellow cards.
Uchida has pushed up into midfield. Nagatomo remains on the opposite flank. Here he is on the ball.
Now Okazaki's still out there, Simon, so it's Uchida who's been replaced. Shinji Okazaki is out there on the right wing.
You're right, Andy. We've been given duff information by the 4th official. Obviously got his 9s and 6s confused.
A bit of dyslexia. Never mind. No harm done. It's a straight swap. It makes more sense.
You'd be pretty filthy if you were Okazaki, being dragged at half-time on a hat-trick against pretty lukewarm opposition.
Well, I must say, when you reported that news, which was relayed to us by officialdom, I did start scurrying around to have a look and see exactly what was what. Wouldn't have made sense at all.
Kagawa. 1-2 with Maeda. Yasser Al-Qahtani needs to make the ball stick and wait for support, which is pretty slow in arriving.
It was pretty zippy getting the ball that far. It was impressive from Saudi.
Good to halfway.
the problem for Saudi now is any time they play some decent stuff, people are going to say, well, where's that been for the other 44 minutes?
And previous 2 games. Well, as you pointed out in the first half, Andy, they were cursed by a bit of bad luck in the opening match, and they've not really been able to recover since.
They still haven't played well enough. I mean, when you're Saudi Arabia, you needn't be relying on luck in the Asian Cup. Too big with too many resources and too much history to rely on those sorts of uncontrollable things.
And Nagatomo breaks for Endo. Square for Hasabe. Now the new man, Inoha. Okazaki. Kamal Musa. Just, I was going to say, prevented the corner, but he's not quite managed that. Ball clearly over the line. It's actually got quite chilly at Al Rayyan. The rain continuing to fall, and Saudi Arabia still continuing to fail to mark up from set pieces. What a free header from Yoshida. Bit of a defender's touch though.
Well, the idea was right. Shinji Kagawa had lost his footing on the greasy surface, and down he goes again.
Endo. Kashiwagi, now Inoha to Okazaki. Waiting for the overlapping run. Good ball in too. And there's Ryoichi Maeda to make it 4-0 for Japan. His second goal of the game. And again, just a routine move and a routine finish for Japan. Saudi Arabia just not at the races.
Well, completely routine for Japan. 2 goals for Ryoichi Maeda, 2 runs to the near post. Okazaki linking with Inoha. It's a beautiful cross.
But who's tracking the run?
Well, evidently no one. Keeper comes and swats at flies. Even the flies have gone home. Walid Abdullah gets nothing. Maeda gets everything and the goal. Japan 4, Saudi Arabia 0.
Well, it took them 8 minutes to score in the first half, Japan. It's taken them only 5 in the second. It's an incredible scoreline, really, given the intense rivalry the two have shared down the years. Did beat the Saudis 4-1 in the final back in 2000. Funnily enough, Al-Jahar was the coach then as well for Saudi Arabia after they sacked Milan Majala. Things don't change. Here's Nagatomo. Was left a little bit short for Kono. He's done ever so well. Inoha, Maeda. So both he and Okazaki now on hat-tricks. I think we've only had one at this Asian Cup thus far, from Ismail Abdulatif of Bahrain against India. As we watch again Maeda's simple finish, really. is Abdullah Shuhail into the channel, but no good putting it in the air for the 5 feet 4 inch tall Mohammed Al Shub. Atif. Mana turning it back to his central defender, Sama Al Harbi, now Al Musa, Al Shub. Too quickly at Al Qatani. Bagawa digs it out. A little bit congested in the centre circle. Qatani invited to run, but too heavy.
Well, we referred to the Saudi humiliation at the 2002 FIFA World Cup at the hands of Germany, with so many Japanese players now playing in the Bundesliga. You wonder if any of that ruthlessness is going to rub off on the Blue Samurai. Okazaki, Shinji Kagawa, both up front or thereabouts, both play in Germany.
Well, the goals, of course, will help them to finish top of the group, because if Jordan do snag a winner, remember they're tied at 1-1 against Syria at the moment. The two teams drew earlier on in the group stage, so it would go down to goal difference. So not much doubt that Japan will finish top, unless there's a blitz of goals at the Qatar Sports Club. Al Qatani just feeding off scraps. Alberto Zaccaroni with the glasses on the sideline. Must be very happy with the way his team has performed. Been very professional today, even given the paucity of the opposition. Been pretty ruthless, particularly in front of goal. That's not always the case with the Japanese national side.
No, it's oftentimes over the years taken them a lot of chances to score one. They've been much more efficient. But the shadow play defending from Saudi Arabia has certainly helped.
Cleared up towards halfway by Walid Abdullah. Immediately the ball is returned to Saudi territory, where it's been for most of this game. Ashiwagi, and he finds a white jersey. He's quickly back with the Blues through Hassabe, and he's given it away. A little miscommunication between Kono and Inoha. This is Al Shub. A chance perhaps for the Saudis to attack, but again, all too easily dispossessed. Nagatomo. Yoshida. For the run of Okazaki. Al Qatani to Kamil Al Musa. Now one of the Saudi substitutes, Manaf, that's a good ball. Kamil Al Musa, good challenge too by Inoha.
Superb defending. Japan just showing signs of being a little bit ragged themselves. You can hardly blame them. I'm surprised they've been able to keep things going for as long as they have with no opposition. But they continue to push themselves, which is to their eternal credit and the mark of their professionalism and the development of their football culture. stark contrast to their opponents here this evening, Saudi Arabia.
You mentioned, Andy, the central defence area for Saudi Arabia. Just on the same part of the field for Japan, Yoshida and Kono, who are in effect second or even third choices as a pairing, they played reasonably well at this tournament.
No, doing well. They're under serious pressure against Jordan and Syria, who really showed what fight is all about in the football sense. Tremendous competitors, both teams. And they withstood the barrage. Remember, of course, against Syria, they went down to 10 men.
Nagatomo has shrugged off Shuhail. Waiting at the far post is Okazaki. Eager for the chance of a treble. Yeah, those injuries to Nakazawa and Marcus Tulio Tanaka, robbing Japan of their first choice pairing. And their second pairing, Makino and Sakai, both had to go home injured as well. It's unprecedented, really, to lose 4 central defenders. And even a 5th, Iwamasa has been struggling as well.
Yes. Well, Yoshida has looked every bit international footballer. He's done a terrific job. This bloke just continues to go and attack and dribble and run and overlap and cross. Fabulous.
The other flank, Inoa, has been impressive in his international debut. Shoots corner. And there's another reserve, the reserve goalkeeper, who still shows no signs of nerves.
This is unflappable. That's heavy body contact. Very heavy body contact. Kamil Al-Nusa.
To use the Aussie vernacular hops, no worries.
Sounds good coming out of your mouth, Simon.
If not quite natural. Yoshida. Okazaki. They build again down the right. Inoha's ball in. Dealt with on this occasion from Sama Al-Harbi. It's really pouring down here at Al Rayyan. I think they only get, what is it, Andy, 9 days rain a year in Qatar?
Yep. So we're told.
So we're lucky then.
Yes, indeed. I've seen the complete spectrum of Qatari weather. The man to whom you just referred, Daiki Iwamasa, is about to come on, Simon. Zaccaroni just rotating things, giving players some game time. Very important that he's got options going into the quarterfinals. Players get injured. Daisuke Matsui is on his way back to Japan this evening, we're told, because of his injury.
That's a pity.
Huge pity. He was a real eye-catcher in the first 2 games.
Nagatomo gets a lucky bounce. Across comes Hausawi. And this will probably be the chance to make the change for Japan. It's Yoshida who will be replaced by Daiki Iwamasa, another man from Kashima Antlers. Just his 5th cap as well. He's been carrying a foot injury in this tournament. He gets his chance, and Yoshida, another game. Another very composed performance. Now Jordan have taken the lead against Syria. So that will put them on 7 points, along with Japan at the top of Group B. So Syria need to score twice if they're to advance. Iwamasa's first involvement. Yasuhito Endo. Nagawa is just looking for Nagatomo to run into the channel corner results nonetheless.
Chicago is one of the players who hasn't really aimed up this evening. Great chance to make it 4-0. Couldn't convert. He's just been half a yard off the pace. And that's not a damnable offence given the circumstances at this game, but Japan will need him firing if they're to go all the way.
Saudi Arabia have been weak on crosses. They defend that one okay. Greatest delivery from Endo, in fairness. Tomo. Kono. Kashiwagi. Good ball. Inoha. Outside of the boot to Kagawa. Beautiful stuff right by Japan. Shot blocked. Still they come away by Abdullah Shuhail. Now Mohammed Al Shub will try and set something up for Saudi Arabia. There's just nothing on, is there, for the Green Falcons? Yasser Al-Qahtani playing virtually on his own up front. It's not been great movement from the Saudi captain either.
No. He's just captain of a very disappointing cast this evening. Story's all about Japan. The recriminations for Saudi football, if they haven't already started, will reach huge times post-match.
Free kick, Japan. Just a reminder that Jordan leading Syria 2-1. So as it stands, it's Japan against Qatar in one quarter-final and Jordan against Uzbekistan in another. Group C to be decided tomorrow.
Well, that's Japan's 18th foul. 6 times the number of fouls the Saudis have created. I think that's a pretty fair reflection on the levels of desire demonstrated by both teams this evening.
Well, for large periods, Andy, they've been just disinterested, haven't they?
Yeah.
Saudi Arabia. Well, they've got a yellow cards, which has been dished out to Kamal Al-Musa.
Jeez, lucky it's only yellow.
Yeah, it's a poor challenge.
A referee sees that, Simon. A referee sees that and says that's only a yellow card. I can't work it out. I mean, that's a potential leg breaker. It's completely against everything in the game, the laws of the game, the spirit of the game. That's all very well. The hand of friendship has just been extended, or apology from Kamil Al-Musa was accepted by Shinji Okazaki. But he should be having an early shower. That was awful.
Perhaps they were listening to us berating them for the lack of fouls. There we go, that's 2 inside a minute. And another yellow, this time for the substitute, Motaz Musa. It's another pretty ordinary challenge. Will attempt at the ball. And it results in a free kick. Nagatomo returning it towards the danger zone. So Kono, the big defender, who's ventured up for the earlier set piece.
And even in that situation, now Connor refused to allow the ball to get past him. Even 4-0 up, and even when the ball's deep in Saudi territory.
Al-Qahtani out to Taysir Al-Jassim, back for Shuhail. Sama Al-Harbi along the line for Kamil Al-Musa. Manaf. They just can't make any progress. Hassabe. This is as poor a performance, I think, as I've ever seen from Saudi Arabia. You think back 4 years ago, Andy, to that semi-final, a pulsating affair won by the Saudis, 3-2. Under the impish striker Malik Moath, who played alongside the then very prolific Yasser Al-Qahtani.
Dynamic, exciting.
It's chalk and cheese, isn't it?
Completely.
Moath's career, by the way, has been dogged by injury in the intervening years. He is not part of this squad. Nagatomo. Shinji Kagawa, clever touch.
Clever idea. Ball probably just had too much pace on it from Nagatomo. Looking for the step over touch.
Better football by Saudi Arabia. They've particularly gone anywhere. Nagatomo with a comfortable header. Nishikawa probably grateful of the work.
And it's going to be interesting to see if Nishikawa can hold his place for the round of 16. Here I go again, the quarter-final game.
Not done anything wrong, has he?
No. I mean, Eiji Kawashima is back and eligible. He's suspended today because of that red card against Syria.
Hassabe beautifully weighted into the path of Inoha. Here they come again, Japan. It's a poor cross.
You don't often say that about Japanese teams, Japanese players in those advanced positions. A poor cross, and that certainly was. Otherwise, he's had a good time of it down the right-hand side. Fantastic opportunity for him to get into the swing of things. Preparation for their next match, which will be against Qatar. Rain's almost monsoonal here now, Simon.
Didn't think we were going to need anoraks here. Some of the meagre crowd here in Al Rayyan starting to try and find some cover. Three sides of the stadium open. Abdullah Shuhail trying to make some progress. That's foul by Kagawa, had his ankles clipped.
More signs of Abdullah Shuhail and what he can do. An opportunity to sting Japan here. I'm going to throw this to you before you do to me, Simon. What does a goal for Saudi do to the goal difference in the Jordan v Japan battle for top place?
Well, nothing yet, as Jordan still lead by 2-1. Japan at the moment on +5, Jordan on +2. So they've got a bit of ground to make up, the Jordanians. Saudi could do them a favour here, though. narrow the gap a bit. Al-Shoub. Ono wins the aerial duel. Okazaki clears. Only as far as Ahmed Atif. Now Al-Shoub. Trying to get within range. Al-Qahtani. Taysir Al-Jassim. Looks as though they've run out of options, though, Saudi Arabia. They have. Just not enough creativity.
Just bustled off the ball and then a foul conceded on halfway, but Yasser Al-Qahtani didn't have the requisite fight to maintain possession. His pocket easily picked.
Well, the stats showing things a little bit more even now that we're 15 minutes from the end, but Saudi Arabia just have not been able to hurt Japan at all in any area of the park, apart from that tackle from Kamel Al-Musa.
The only damage the Saudis have done today is to their own reputation.
It's been a very, very insipid display. Japan just cruising towards the finishing line. Sterner test awaits, you'd imagine. Qatar's renewed energy and physicality might cause them a problem or two. There's still probably a gulf in class, in fairness. Kashiwagi. Here they come again. Endo. Perhaps delayed a little too long there, Yasuhito Endo. Could they inflict further damage on the Saudis? Already flimsy reputation of this Asian Cup. This is Maeda looking for Okazaki.
I think that was in the halfway house from Maeda. Fancied the idea of a curling shot and then saw the option of the flighted cross.
Attendance just been confirmed here at Rayyan. I think I'm right in saying it's the smallest one of the tournament, just over 2,000.
It's certainly a number that's very familiar here in Doha these days, 2022.
Good point. Would have been surely a lot larger, and something written on this contest for Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
Brought a whole army of fans over the border, but most of them have gone back.
Fascinating with that other game, Simon. They're yet to be updated, but last hearing it was Jordan 2, Syria 1. Now, Jordan can rightly look back at this group and think, you know what, we were very close to a clean sweep of matches. And if they do finish up going through, because there's still a chance Syria can overtake them, of course, but what a huge achievement that would be. They'll have earned it completely. They outfought Japan if in the end they couldn't outplay them. The better of Saudi Arabia with a stirring performance, and now they've got their noses in front of Syria.
And that'll be of more than nuisance value in the quarterfinals to Uzbekistan if that's the way it turns out.
Too right.
Japan, though, barring a miracle, will win the section and maintain their hugely impressive records in Asian Cup finals matches. They've lost just one of the last 20 finals games. That, of course, was to Saudi 4 years ago in the semi-final. This is Okazaki still seeking a hat-trick. Maeda too. They go centrally. Okazaki! He does have a hat-trick! And how? Shinji Okazaki makes it 5-0 for Japan. And he'll take home the match ball unless Maeda claims a share of it.
They're almost stumbling over each other, those two in question. In the end, it was a wonderfully sharp turn from Okazaki. Look at that. Spin, touch, shot. 5-0. Now that is beautiful finishing. Let's not for a second put any focus on the flimsy Saudi defence, which has been their problem all tournament, but that was expert from Shinji Okazaki. Well, he changed the game for Japan when they were losing against Jordan. He came on to effect against Syria, and he scored a hat-trick here against Saudi Arabia. It's been an excellent tournament.
And it's not his first international hat-trick either, it's his third. He scored previous trebles against Togo and Hong Kong, but this one will probably mean a bit more being as it is at a major tournament. 5-0, and the Saudis have been absolutely flogged.
And this is the heaviest defeat by any team at the tournament so far.
Even India, when they conceded 5, managed to score 2 at the other end.
Well, I don't want to get into the business of preempting things, but I can't see India being as flimsy in defending their honour and reputation as a football team as Saudi have been here today. They're nowhere near going to be good enough against South Korea. They'll get their bodies in and around as best they can.
They'll play with more pride than the Saudis have done today. Alberto Zaccheroni is going to go to the bench for the third and final time, and the ball next goes dead. Takuya Honda is another one without a full international cap. He's going to get some vital experience, which is going to begin very shortly. Yasuhito Endo is the man that will be withdrawn.
Welcome rest for Endo. He's looking more like the man we've come to admire the last couple of games. Beautiful footballer, beautiful pass through the ball, beautiful reader of the game, beautiful setter of the tone. Japan need him firing to win this. The rest will do him good.
So at least we've got one Honda on the pitch, if not the more famous Keisuke. Takuya plays for Shimizu in the J-League, the Japanese Olympic squads. Now, that's not a bad try from Mohamed Al-Shoub, and just for a moment, Nishikawa was a little flustered.
Yeah, good on him, Mohamed Al-Shoub. He's a very, very tidy, left-footed, tricky midfielder. He can strike a dead ball, evidently. Terrific work, Nishikawa.
Al-Jassim in towards Yasser Al-Khattani. Brought clear by Inoha. Good strong run too. What a break by Japan. Nagatomo, man free on the left is Kagawa. They look for Maeda, who wants his treble. Oh, what a wonderful move that was. What a wonderful goal that would have been.
It would have been. Look at the speed of it, Noah. Wow, that was mind-bending. And the counter-attack was very slick. The pass from Kagawa, from the moment it left his boot, was never going anywhere other than to safety for Saudi. Again, just more evidence that Shinji Kagawa not firing on all cylinders at the moment.
fans trying to create a bit of atmosphere. It's been a strange sort of afternoon. You picked this game before the tournament, Andy, and thought, wow, that's going to be a real good match, but it's just been a no contest.
Well, the expectation was this was going to be the meeting of the tectonic plates. The earthquake that was anticipated, barely a tremor has resulted. And on this evidence, Saudi Arabia have no right to even question the bona fides of Syria or Jordan for a berth in the next round. The latter two, who are still slugging it out at the Qatar Sports Club as we speak, have fought and fought tenaciously. The Saudis have collapsed.
Still 2-1 in that game, by the way. Jordan leading as we move into the final 5 minutes here. As Ahmed had Tif's vital statistics. Who's perhaps been close to being Saudi Arabia's best, and that's not saying much.
I agree with that. He's tried, continued to try. He's had a couple of shots on goal. He and Abdullah Shuhail will win the two. Followed close behind by Ahmed Shahoub, who constantly probed as best he can. But thereafter, it's been very, very slim pickings.
Hassabe. Kashiwagi. That's a good tackle, well timed. Still they come, Japan. This is Shinji Kagawa. That's a good last-ditch challenge from Abdullah Shuhail.
Yeah, very good. Very good reading of the situation. Kagawa, as the ball looped over to him, there was no pace on the ball. It was looped nicely, but there was no pace on it. He therefore had to, from a stationary position, as we were watching Shinji Okazaki do his business, Kagawa had to make all the speed from a standing start and controlling the ball with the chest.
Kashiwagi's corner, another free header. This time for Iwamasa. Saudis managed to beat that one away. The resultant cross through Osama Al-Harbi. Sabay to return it. Noha cushions the header. Kashiwagi, oh, he shaped that beautifully. And Walid Abdullah had to palm it behind.
Yeah, safety first from the Saudi keeper. Reasonable decision too. The pitch is greasy. Shaped up beautifully. Kashiwagi for that one. Good safe goalkeeping. Beautiful technique from the Reds man.
Short corner. Whipped in with good pace too. Over halfway by Manaf. Nobody there for the Saudis. Well, the rain continues to tumble here in Al Rayyan. Maybe it's the tears of the Saudi fans drifting across the border. Because really this has been a performance to make you weep if you're a Saudi Arabian supporter.
Well, they were booed off the field by their fans, game 2. And one can only wonder what the reception's going to be like in Riyadh. Oof. This will quite clearly be unacceptable.
Shinji Kagawa, there's space here as they go looking for another goal. Kashiwagi trying to bend it. He wants to get him on the scoring act, doesn't he? Plays on the left-hand side of midfield normally for Ottawa, Kashiwagi. He has been deputising for the Brazilian Robson Ponte. And apparently been doing so to pretty good effect for the Red Diamonds.
Huge reviews in Japan, those who watch the J-League. Hasn't been put under much pressure today, so it's hard to get a read on just how good he is at this level. But suffice to say that nowadays, if it was ever any different, you put on the shirt of the Blue Samurai, it certainly means you're a certain level of footballer. They're oozing quality midfielders, Japan, at the moment, oozing.
Maybe in Okazaki they've found a goal scorer too. And Maeda, to be fair.
Well, he's got his two. The Jubilo Iwata man, prolific at J-League level. Maybe he's broken the ice at international level. The big number 11 for Japan.
Here's an interesting thing. Saudi Arabia are about to make a substitute. They were going to bring on Ahmed Al-Montashari, the former Asian Player of the Year. They've obviously decided not to bother.
Well, there's one minute to go. Fourth official, Ben Williams, just put up the board.
That will be greeted with relief, I'm sure, by the small band of Saudi fans who've stuck it out till the end. They deserve better.
Well, it'll be interesting to see what their reaction is going to be. They can't be hanging around to celebrate the team's performance, so
maybe to heckle them, because they have been abject. Well, I think everybody wants the game to finish, and finally Ravshan Irmatov obliges. A thumping win for Japan, a hat-trick for Shinji Okazaki, 2 for Ryoichi Maeda, but only dejection and embarrassment for Saudi Arabia, who are absolutely shocking tonight. Nassim Al-Jahar, maybe he won't be in the job for very long, but there are serious and searching questions that need to be asked about Saudi Arabian football. Japan's day, they're through to the last 8 to play Qatar. They've defeated Saudi Arabia by 5-0. Well, Andy, your assessment?
Well, not much can be added to the scoreboard and the story it tells. Saudi Arabia came out with a reputation to salvage. They've done nothing but trash that further. Japan did what they needed to do. They snuffed out whatever threat Saudi were going to pose. They snuffed it out in the opening minutes. They went on with the job. Very professional, very clinical. Wonderful hit out for a team that is going to shorten in the money for champion status of Asia 2011. There'll be some big clashes to come before they can assume that mantle. But all went to plan here for them today. Goals to the goal scorers who need to score them. They've got good defenders. They've got good overlapping fullbacks. They've got good midfielders. And they had a couple up front today in Maeda and Okazaki, who scored goals to finish off the move. So all good for Japan, all horrific for Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, Alberto Zaccheroni has got some nice problems now. He's managed to give some good game time to some of his reserves. His keeper has been unflappable. He's found a couple of goal scorers at the top end. Okazaki absolutely delighted with his treble, his 3rd for his country. Ryoichi Maeda chipped in with a couple too. All smiles for Japan. They may not have this tournament as a priority. The deeper they go into the competition, the more they will fancy their chances of winning it. Next stop, Qatar for the Blue Samurai. Next stop, Riyadh and the Inquisition for Saudi Arabia. Shinji Okazaki, unsurprisingly, named as man of the match. Hat-trick heroes often get that gong. A rich reward for his efforts this evening. All eyes, of course, will then turn to the Qatar Sports Club, where last we heard it was Jordan still leading Syria by 2-1. If that remains the case, they will go through to face Uzbekistan in the quarterfinals as Shinji Okazaki gets his prize. And the Blue Samurai take another step towards another Asian Cup triumph.
شكرا لكم متابعينا الكرام. الكابتن محمد الشلوب، نرحب فيك محمد. أسألك مباشرة، لما حد يمكن يتوقع حينما خسر المنتخب السعودي فرصة التأهل أن يخسر حتى أمام اليابان في آخر المباراة بهذه النتيجة الكبيرة؟
أول شيء بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. طبعا خسارة غير متوقعة، حتى أن ما كنا متوقعين الشيء هذا، لكن ما الله أراد. وحقيقة يعني من بداية البطولة ما كنا في وضعنا الطبيعي، مباراة ورا مباراة نحاول نحسن، لكن ما الله أراد. إن شاء الله ربي يوفق الجميع إن شاء الله. محمد، ظهرت أصوات أن عدد من لاعبي المنتخب أصيبوا بإنفلونزا حادة أثناء المعسكر أو أثناء المعسكر الأخير، شاهدنا منهم من يلعب أساسيا اليوم. إذا حين نتحدث أنه اللاعب البديل يكون في مستوى اللاعب الجاهز، لماذا إذا لم يحضر اللاعب البديل اليوم؟ والله هذا سؤال فني، لكن في بعض اللاعبين يعني بعد يعني كانوا متعبين شوي وفي بعض الإصابات. لا ممكن من ضمنهم يعني سعود كريري ما شارك يعني للإصابة، لكن الحمد لله الموجودين يعني فيهم الخير والبركة. وما الله راد. حقيقة مباراة صعبة، النتيجة صعبة علينا. أول مرة يمكن أنا أقول لك يعني معليش في حياتي حتى إني يعني أنهزم ب5. يمكن أيضا جميع اللاعبين. ما الله أراد، إن شاء الله ربي يوفق إن شاء الله. أخيرا، في خذلان للشارع الرياضي السعودي كابتن؟ والله شوف، أنا زي ما قلت من أول، حتى يوم قبل ما نتأهل يعني معهم حق إنهم يعاتبون ويزعلون علينا، لكن يعني إن شاء الله إنهم يتقبلون عذرنا ونوعدهم إن شاء الله بطولات القادمة إن شاء الله. شكرا. الله يعطيك العافية.